building a two-sided market is probably the hardest thing you can do. You know, a few weeks ago, I organized a marketplace founders dinner because I felt like there needs to be almost like a, you know, an AA meeting type for those founders that have decided to build marketplaces, you know, like, and I don't know if you know what a marketplace is, but like an Etsy or an eBay or a Clarity, my startup, it's where you build a platform and you hope that people on the supply side and on the demand side come together to complete a transaction and get a lot of value from that. And the reason why it's so challenging is you've got both sides of the market to figure out. When you build a normal technology company or you build any business, you have a customer and you have a service and you deliver it. But with any marketplace, you have that same concept times two. So what I want to talk about is how do you do that effectively? You know, I can only speak from my experience. I don't know if you've checked out Clarity, but Clarity.fm, we're a marketplace for entrepreneurs to get advice from experts, real world experts with experience over the phone to grow their dreams and businesses forward. And you know, we've completed over 250,000 calls in the last 18 months. It's been growing 30% month over month. It's really taken on. And the challenge though is in the beginning is getting the flywheel going, right? I mean, everybody that's tried to start, they always say like, in the beginning, how do you start? Here's my suggestions to you. Number one, focus on one use case, right? So for us, it was marketing as a topic, but also within marketing, SEO, right? So if you're doing a vacation rental site, you know, like an Airbnb or VRBO or HomeAway, maybe you would start with tree houses. Now that sounds crazy, but you might even start with tree houses in Europe or even within a specific city in Europe, but really focusing on a very focused use case and even a product set helps you streamline the experience, because if you're trying to do too many things within a broader market and something's kind of taken off, it's really hard to understand what is working. Once you know what's working, then you can add on or stack on, as I like to say, stack on these different tangential markets. So we started off with SEO and marketing, then we added other types of marketing like Facebook marketing, growth hacking, online marketing, content marketing, and then from that, from a marketing bucket, we then tacked on business development, then sales, and we just kept expanding, whereas, you know, 2 years into it almost, we have different categories. We have 4,000 categories and a bunch of different topics, and that's the way I believe to start, by building a very focused use case, focused on doing one thing really well and making it niche. It's sometimes people call it uncomfortably narrow as a niche. So try to think, am I really uncomfortably narrow as how specific this marketplace deliverable is? The other thing I would say is focus on the demand side. You know, a lot of people, they think, okay, well, I want to do this kind of marketplace, I need a bunch of supply. And supply is the people delivering the service. If it's buyers and sellers, it's the sellers. And I would argue that it's better and easier if you focus on a narrow offering to fake the supply or essentially pay the supply to be there. I mean, Uber was famous for, you know, when they started their black car service, they didn't have 10,000 black cars signed up day one. They went to a company and said, look, you've got 12 cars. How about I pay you to just have them respond to these messages on this iPhone app that they gave them? And then that black car service would just tally up all the drives and send them one invoice. And that was the beginning of Uber, now a multi-billion, I think they just raised that $16 billion valuation. Company started with that same concept. So fake the supply or restrict it to a very specific use case where that you can control and deliver on that promise, and focus on the demand. Focus on finding the ideal customer that has that use case, that need for your marketplace. You know, those are the two big things. And then the third thing I'm going to say is, I believe the world has gone from a 1.0 version of a marketplace to a 2.0 to now where we're in a 3.0. And a 3.0, well, I'll start with the one. One was eBay, one was Craigslist, where it was kind of a free-for-all. A 2.0 is more like a curated, very focused marketplace with identity and privacy and trust, which would be more like an Airbnb or an Etsy, or kind of like where they're leveraging social trust to build liquidity in their marketplace. The third kind is what we're seeing now, where essentially they're fixing the supply or the demand, the supply side of what you get, right? And that would be, HomeJoy for home cleaning services, Uber and Lyft for delivering, where, I guess the way to look at it is they set the price, right? Whereas, in TaskRabbit would be a 2.0 example, but a 3 is where you say, look, this is the offering, this is what we deliver on. We own that brand, that consistency. Those people might be contractors to us on the supply side, but we will own the experience. We will be responsible for that. And the price is fixed, so there's this consistent ever going. I mean, another example would be Fiverr, right? When you go to Fiverr, it's like the name says it. How much is it going to cost? It's $5, whatever you want. So Fiverr is an example of a 3.0. If you haven't checked out Fiverr, you got to do it. I mean, you're going to probably spend the next 3 hours. If you haven't been there, start watching some of the crazy videos. But Fiverr is an example of, here's an example, a 2.0 version of Fiverr would be like Odesk, but what they said is, look, no, we want to reduce the friction and build liquidity. And they said, look, everything's $5, everything's bought in this format, you know what you get. The person's offering is exactly that thing. And when you take the first, all these strategies put together, it really helps you build a marketplace with liquidity. One, focus on a very narrow, uncomfortably narrow niche offering. 2, focus on the demand side versus the supply. And then 3rd, figure out, are you a 2.0 or 3.0 offering? And it's even easier sometimes to go 3 and maybe backfill to a 2.0. Anyways, those are my ideas on how to build liquidity in a marketplace. It's a challenge that a lot of entrepreneurs and founders are facing right now. And I hope that brought value to you. Leave a comment below with one of the #1 takeaways you got from this video. And I hope that you continue to growth stack your success and you live a passionate life. Have an amazing day.